I would say businesses rise and fall with people, not spreadsheets. I mentioned starting with a couple partners, and those relationships were invaluable. Those mentorships, working with the right people, the right centers of influence, the right connections. You can't figure it all yourself. And what's the saying? Like nobody cares how smart they are until they know how much you care. So that goes with both internal teams and people you're working with. You have to show them you care, not just try and impress them with spreadsheets, numbers, how smart you are. That's not the way to have a lasting business.
Hey everybody, this is Devin Miller here with another episode of The Inventive Journey. I'm your host, Devin Miller, the serial entrepreneur that's grown several startups into 7 and 8 figure businesses, as well as the founder and CEO of Miller IP Law, where we help startups and small businesses with their patents and trademarks. You ever need help with yours, just go to strategymeeting.com, grab some time with us to chat, and we're always here to help. Now, today we've got another great guest on the podcast, Eric Ashburn. And Eric started his journey in Roanoke, Virginia. Went to high school there, and same high school that his dad and his grandfather went to. And then from there, I went to Virginia Tech and studied finance. Graduated and worked for a company as an advisor for a while. And then after about 5 years there, took the leap, started a practice with a few others, and has been doing it ever since. So, with that much as a quick introduction, welcome on the podcast, Eric.
Thanks for having me, Devin.
Absolutely excited to have you here. So I just gave kind of the quick overview or the quick run through to a much longer journey. So why don't we rewind and unpack a little bit and tell us a little bit about how your journey got started growing up in Roanoke.
Yeah, to get started, I would say that, as you said, small town living, there wasn't really a roadmap of what you do after graduating high school or dreaming bigger. So I learned a lot on the way. I had a younger sister too and was leading the way for her. As you mentioned, I went to Virginia Tech, but my sisters also ended up going to Virginia Tech and then later going to Columbia Law, becoming a lawyer. So I'm really proud of showing her what's possible and her going through a similar journey as me just a few years later.
Oh, cool. So you started there, you went to high school there, and or it sounds like, or probably similar. Or grew up and continue to live in a small town, so certainly can understand that. Now, as you're coming out of high school, kind of where did the journey pick up from there?
Yeah, like many people coming out of high school, no idea what I wanted to do, but go to the best school possible. And Virginia Tech was the local school, pretty close to Roanoke, where I grew up. So went there with undecided major, no idea what I wanted to do, but always was interested in business, like all the decisions that went into it, how you grow a business. Um, I went into finance because that was kind of a general enough area and was good with numbers, like numbers, so started there. From there, I studied abroad for a semester, really gave me like a global view, worldly view of businesses and finance, and that just continued to grow my interest in college. And then after college, it really became about finding the right mentors, the right partners, and continuing to learn along the way.
So now you studied that, and you said, and where did, just out of curiosity, where did you study abroad, or where did you do that at?
Switzerland, and now I look at all like these most expensive city lists, and I see like five are in Switzerland. So as a college student, definitely on the expensive side. I felt that, but yeah, it seems like that's the reality still today about it being an expensive but very beautiful country.
Well, sounds like it was a good opportunity while you were doing your studies. So now you came out, and where did you kick off your journey, or your career or aspect, so to speak, and where did you start working?
Yeah, I started at a financial planning firm, a smaller financial firm called Bliss Financial Group. Met several others there, kind of started as a para planner, similar to like a paralegal, just learning the business, getting my licenses, learning about businesses, how to start businesses, and just trying to kickstart the learning journey.
Well, cool. Now, and then, so how long were you there? Or kind of, did you work your way up, or did you stay, kind of more of that paralegal or whatever, or the para, whatever you called it,
Yeah,
or kind
paraplanner. I
of.
know a little different. Yeah, I got my certified financial planner license within about a year or two being there, as well as my other licenses. So went on as a full-time advisor shortly after that and started working directly with clients. And then just continuing to grow that knowledge base, continuing to learn along the way. I was there about 7 years before ultimately taking the leap with to my own practice, just to go to the next challenge.
So now, what led to that decision, or doing or going out on your own? In other words, if you're at a good good, there's a few motivations. One, you can hate the people you work with, hate the place you work with. There can be scratching an entrepreneurial itch. It can be, hey, it's more financially beneficial to start your own thing, or you want to choose your own direction. In other words, there's a lot of motivations or different considerations that might go into start or going down your own firm, or starting it with others. So kind of walk us through what led to that decision.
You're right. A lot of different reasons. It's difficult to point to just one, but I would say trying to make a more widespread impact and ready for the next challenge were the biggest things. I didn't know how big of a challenge it would be starting your own business. I know, as you mentioned, several businesses. I don't need to tell you, but if thinking back to the first one, it's just a completely new challenge of things you don't know, things you're ready for. And then in my previous role, you can impact one family at a time, but when you're building a business, that means impacting a team, families, communities. It's just a uh, much more lasting impact, which I was ready to be a part of.
Okay, gotcha. So now as you're making that decision, come to the conclusion, hey, you're gonna go out on your own. Now you did it with a few other people. How did you kind of figure out, the direction or how you wanted to approach it, or otherwise get or start or kind of start your own firm?
Yeah, I mean, it got to a point where we were all kind of thinking the same thing along the same page, had a similar vision of what we wanted. So it wasn't some aha moment. It was more just things fell into place that way and really got along with certain people as my mentors and people I had worked with for years. So it was kind of just timing meeting opportunity.
Okay, and were the other people that you're working with within the same firm, or other connections, or
Yeah,
random
yeah, with
people you met on the street, or how did you get together or get
within
started?
within the same firm. So I had already been familiar working with them, known them for my whole career to that point. Um, along the way, later on, we added more people we met as the business grew and hired. But at least at the beginning, it was just those couple people that knew very well, and then we joined together to be business partners and kind of figure it out together.
Gotcha. So now walk us through. So you get together with those other people. So walk us through how you got the business going. Does it, was it a rocket ship to the top and had more clients and money coming in than you knew what to do with, or ups and downs, or iterations, or kind of walk us through that journey as you got started founding the business?
Yeah, so it was in May 2019 that it started, which I'm very thankful it wasn't exactly a year later during COVID, because that would have had its own set of challenges had that been right at the beginning. I mean, it's a scary leap, but we had built up a lot of client trust, worked with client for years. Financial planning, like many businesses, is a relationship business. So looking back, I probably didn't need to be as worried about those things because we had the relationships. Um, but clients found us, came over, joined us, and since then we've had tremendous growth. But it definitely took time and a lot of pivoting, as I mentioned, with COVID, coming together, learning about what we wanted the business to be. There was a lot of decisions along the way, but I guess it's been 6 years and we've doubled or tripled in size in that time. So we've grown very quickly, and I think that's the goal to keep up that pace.
So where do you see kind of things continue to head? In other words, looking out now that next 6 to 12 months and kind of the trajectory or the different iterations or evolutions, kind of what's in store next?
Yeah, we've been working really hard to build more specific niches and expertise in certain areas instead of being uh, generalist or trying to help everybody we can because we're all caring people, want to help as many people as we can. We view the next level of business growth as knowing when to say no to certain clients, knowing we're not the best fit, and really staying laser focused in our lane and helping very specific people at a very high level as opposed to just trying to help as many people as we can. I think that that's our next step of growth in the company, and I think that that's a natural like growth phase for many companies.
And what are kind of some of those areas that you're planning to get into?
We've had a lot of success with divorce financial planning, so we have uh, five CDFAs on the team, certified divorce financial analysts. So that's like hourly divorce work who work with the attorneys, really have the specialty there, and that's we've had a lot of success doing that. And then 2 years ago, I built a part of the firm that specializes helping business owners with consulting, given all the things I learned for that 4 year period, everything from like, what do KPIs mean? Which are important? How do you benchmark? Like, are you built to be sustainable? So a lot of the business consulting aspect is really what we've spent a lot of time and effort and resources building. So I'd say those are the two main areas we're focusing on right now.
Sounds like some good areas and worthwhile ones to expand into, and hopefully provide some good, promising opportunities yet there in the future. So now one, or maybe circling back a little bit, when you say you founded it, both with yourself and a few other people that you would bit or were colleagues with, kind of how many people were that core group or those people that you initially started with?
It was just the three of us in the beginning. And then months later, we needed some support, so started building out the team, but we wanted to make sure we had the revenue and runway to kind of build out the team. So it was three of us at the beginning, and today there's 12. So we've built a good amount, and hopefully we keep going down that same path.
Perfect. No, that sounds like a good core group, and as well as I'm sure some iterations and figuring out who to hire and when to hire, and going through some of those pains as well. So that's a kind of a great transition to the couple questions I always like to ask towards the end of each episode. So we'll jump to those now. And so with that, kind of the first question I'd like to ask is, along your journey, what was the worst business decision you ever made? And what did you learn from it?
Yeah, I kind of alluded to this a little bit, but I would say early on, I said yes to everything as much as possible. And I think you learn over time that it's a good business decision to be able to say no. Say no if you don't have the time, you can't put in the effort to really make it work you're proud of, or if it's just not in your lane and somebody else is better equipped to do it. So that's something I would say that I've learned as a business decision that's really important.
Yeah, and I think that's it's a balance. It's a hard one to figure out as you're going through, in the sense that, as you're getting started, if you're trying to build and grow the business and bring clientele in, you're wanting to say yes because you're wanting to have that income, or build out that clientele, and sometimes it is fruitful or beneficial, and other times you're bringing on clients or people or work that you really aren't necessarily either suited for or don't enjoy, or aren't a good or set or good set up for the business. And so it's one where you kind of make those mistakes and learn that early on as to where you want to focus and where your experience and time is best invested, and learn from those. So definitely an easy mistake to make, but a great one to learn from. Second question now that I like to ask is, so now if you're talking to somebody that's just getting into a startup or a small business, what would be the one rule of thumb you'd recommend?
I would say businesses rise and fall with people, not spreadsheets. I mentioned starting with a couple partners, and those relationships were invaluable. Those mentorships, working with the right people, the right centers of influence, the right connections. You can't figure it all yourself. And what's the saying? Like nobody cares how smart they are until they know how much you care. So that goes with both internal teams and people you're working with. You have to show them you care, not just try and impress them with spreadsheets, numbers, how smart you are. That's not the way to have a lasting business.
No, that definitely makes sense, and it was, I think, a great rule of thumb. So, well, perfect. Well, now as we do wrap towards the end of this episode, if people want to reach out to you, they want to be a customer, they want to be a client, they want to be an employee, they want to be an investor, they want to be your next best friend, any or all of the above, what's the best way to reach out to you, contact you, find out more?
Yeah, you can find me under LinkedIn, Eric Ashburn, or visit the website, argentbridge.com. We're working on building a library there so people can go visit free resources. I know at your website, Devin, you have tons of free, great resources, but anybody that visits the site can look there, or if there's something they want to see, don't hesitate to reach out. We want to provide any helpful information we can.
Awesome. Well, I definitely encourage people to reach out, support a great business, make some new connections. If nothing else, make a new best friend. So, with that, thank you again for coming on the podcast. It's been a pleasure. Now, for all of you that are listeners that are out there, if you have your own journey to share and you'd like to be a guest on the podcast, we'd love to have you. So just go to inventiveunicorn.com, apply to be on the show. A couple more things as listeners. Make sure you click share, subscribe, leave us a review. Helps us to reach even more startups and small businesses to help them along their journey to success. And on that note, if along your journey you ever need help with patents or trademarks or anything else with your startup or your small business, just go to strategymeeting.com, grab some time with us to chat, and we're always here to help. Well, thank you again, Eric, for coming on the podcast, and wish the next leg of your journey even better than the last.
Thanks, Devin. Thanks, everyone, for listening.